Bye. It was really nice to see everybody. See you next week. Bye. Oh, all right. It's ImmaLetYouFinish. Show 100. What are we? 176? Is that
176 on the
176.
Pantheon Podcast Network.
Courtney and I
just spent the last hour having technical issues.
Really.
The last hour. We should be saying goodbye right now. See you next week. And we're like, hey, kids.
Yeah, we're just going to wrap it up for you. Hi, how are you? I don't even care anymore. Wow.
All
right.
It's 50 degrees in New York today. Good. It was 30 yesterday.
Okay, No, it wasn't 30 yesterday. What are you talking about? I was wearing, my ankles were exposed yesterday.
Yeah, but in the morning it was like 30. Then the temperature went up. It's doing some weird shit all over the place.
Okay, gee, I wonder, because of climate change. That's why when people say you shouldn't come here into certain places when you're traveling because of the weather, I'm like, I don't even take weather into consideration
anymore. It's true.
No, it's like there could be locusts coming from the sky. Anyway, how are you? All right, so I have seen the only movie I've seen this year of note is Barbie. I'm not even going to lie. And they're all available. They're all there. I can see them.
Shit this year. I've seen Barbie and American Fiction.
I heard American Fiction.
It's great. Really good. Yeah, it's really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
My former neighbor. Actually, I think he still is my neighbor.
He still lives in your neighborhood.
Yeah. He just doesn't live. He used to live in the carriage house on Vanderbilt next to the vet that actually Selwyn lived in for a while, which is random Fort Greene. Nobody cares other than us. But I will tell you a really funny Jeffrey Wright story. Two funny Jeffrey Wright stories. Okay, so they were shooting something in the neighborhood, and they were using. No, they weren't shooting something. His kid was going to there's a daycare center next door to the Lafayette Avenue Presbyterian Church. My friend used to be the minister there, and Jeffrey Wright comes in just to check on his kid as a civilian. And my friend was like, all he saw was the pimp, the killer from Shaft. That's all he saw. And he's like, oh my God, like Carlos the killer is in my church. And then he used to always go into the smoke joint. And when Lucian worked at the smoke joint, and Lucian used to do deliveries, sometimes he was always there, and very nice. And so Lucian did a delivery for him, and he goes to deliver the food, and then he comes home and he goes, I just did a delivery, your boy Jeffrey Wright, he answered the door in boxer shorts. And I went, that would be Tony Award winning Jeffrey Wright. Excuse me, he's one of our great actors. Well, anyway, I've
answered the door in boxer shorts. Sometimes it's like, honey, it's like, I'm grabbing the bag. Thank you. Right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Here's your tip.
Well, but I'm, yes, I haven't seen any of the awards. I suppose I have to do one of those free week subscriptions and see everything. All right. So in short, Oppenheimer has won everything. So if they don't win the Oscar for everything, then the fix is, that's a stop the steal. Obviously, clearly they're winning everything.
Everything.
I have less than no desire to see this movie, and I love all the actors, and I like the director. I suppose I could focus for 3 hours, but I'm not interested in the subject matter. I find it's very weird to make a movie about the man who invented something that annihilated a country, but that's just me. But I do like all the actors in it, and so the one.
And if you've ever had any conversation with anyone who's of Japanese descent, they have some feelings about this movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're making a movie about an annihilation of people, and they pick like a super hot actor to play him. So whatever, but I do love Robert Downey. I mean, all right, so they're going to win everything.
They've been winning everything except the Divine Joy Randolph lady's been winning for the hold up. She's literally won every award. I think that all the other actors at this point are just
they don't even show up.
They're like, I'm going to the Oscars, but I'm not going to win because this lady has literally won everything. From the BAFTA to the SAG to the just.
And it's not like a Monique situation where they're going to give her an Academy Award and we'll never see her again because this woman already had a film career, and she's actually a really good comedic actress too.
And from the stage, I believe she's also a Broadway doll.
Yeah, no, she's really good. So anyway, they're all going to win everything. Independent Spirit, they all won everything. It's the same people. Blah 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 blah.
Did you watch the Independent Spirit Awards?
No, of course not.
See, I watch it every year. It was fierce this year because
no, they're always fun.
No. It was fierce because there were protesters outside, and they literally, because they do it they build a tent on the beach. Right? You could hear them screaming about ceasefire. Good. The entire show. It was fair. People are on stage trying to talk, and you just hear people in the background screaming, and nobody was. And only a couple of people have acknowledged it, but it was. I was like, "That's so fierce."
I'm all for that.
All right. I like a little bit of disruption. I do. I'm like,
I think this is a topic it's worth disrupting over.
Yeah.
Several months ago. And I am now 2 for 2 in the predictions.
Okay.
I made a prediction.
Okay.
I said,
You sure did.
Ryan Gosling.
And I was like, there's no way it's going to happen.
Ryan Gosling is going to perform at the Academy Awards because A, everybody loves him. Mm-hmm. B, it's a great song. And C, now that he's won nothing for that category, he's a fan favorite. Puffs on imaginary cigarette. Ryan Gosling's performing at the Academy Awards.
You said it, and I was like, "There's no way he's going to perform that dumbass song on the Academy Awards." You were like,
amazing song.
It's amazing because it's dumb, and you were like, "No, Courtney, I'm telling you, he's going to do it." I'm like, "There's no way he's going to get up in front of his colleagues and sing that song," and now they're like, "And Ryan Gosling will sing."
It's a great song. I'm just Ken, and he will do the dance because he can dance. And I bet he brings the other Kens up there too. I bet they're
going to have to make it something, right?
No,
they're going to have
it's a great, and it'll probably. I don't know if it's going to win Best Song because the Billie Eilish song is really good.
No,
too.
I think Billie Eilish is going to get her second. Her and Phineas are going to get their second Oscars.
Right, but I just wanted to hear you say. What was that you said?
You were right on this one. You absolutely were, because I thought there was no way he was going to get
in on the joke. He's in on the joke. That's why people love him.
And that's what you said the first time. You're like, he's in on the joke. He's going to do it.
Yeah, he's sort of like heterosexual men, if you're listening, which clearly you're not, judging by the people.
Well, I'm a heterosexual man.
Okay.
Okay. That face was so shady. See, you guys can't see the faces. One day we're going to actually do this show on video, because I think what you guys are really missing is the faces that
I would be the worst poker player ever. But heterosexual men, if I could give you a tip, of course, it's never worked in my life. Mm-hmm. The reason women love Ryan Gosling, he's a great actor. Women and men love Pedro Pascal. The reason women love certain people is because they're self-deprecating. Women enjoy a guy that doesn't buy into it too much. Right. Now, conversely, a woman who is funny and witty is doomed to spinsterhood. But unless she's smoking hot.
And even then sometimes they'll be like, she's too much.
She's too complicated. Right. Now, speaking of complications, like the puffy stuff, can we just have that on a loop now?
I mean,
is this news to anybody? Really, seriously? I mean, I'm not trying to be cute. He's been accused. All right. So he settled the lawsuit with Cassie.
But now there's other ones that are pending, right? That
other women that are pending. But now to switch it up a little bit,
to add some tea to the pot.
Yeah.
Here comes, I guess his name is Little Rod, and he's a producer who worked on the last album, who's filed a suit saying that he was sexually assaulted and sexually harassed, and allegedly, and then he says that Puff made him watch a video of Stevie J having sex with another man. And he supposedly had a screenshot of that he showed from this video, and he's made audio recordings, evidently, of Puff and stuff that was being said, and he's saying that he would touch him in the genital area and his backside, and then that his girlfriend, I guess JT, the cousin, and try to make him have sex with her. And then he said that he would have them go out, like his son and somebody else looking for underage girls to come and party, and they would serve them.
This is everything.
And they would serve them. His allegation is he would have these parties and they'd be serving his brand of tequila, but it would be lace. So I'm assuming lace with like Molly to get everybody, and then all of a sudden
or GBH.
Well, GBH passes the people out. I think the Molly is the one that a lot of people think that.
I just want to say a thing. We're old enough to remember when Stevie J was a producer. Remember that?
Yeah. Kind of sort of. So
I remember interviewing Eve when they were together, when they were a couple.
Yeah.
All right. Allegedly, yeah. I believe every word.
It's so...
every word. Every word. And here's why I believe every word. First off, Puffy. Second off, Diddy. Third off, P. Diddy. Fourth off, Sean Combs. Fifth off, I don't think a man who identifies as heterosexual would put himself out there and make these kind of allegations because it could turn around and look badly on him unless it was true. And I believe him 175%. And also, once again, has there been anybody defending Puffy? What is that? What's that silence?
His lawyer's like, he's a liar and all of the things.
Is his lawyer Londell McMickens?
No, McMillan. No, I think it's Sean. I think Sean Hawley is his lawyer.
Well, the point is that allegedly.
It's just like this dude. It just won't stop.
You know what's so funny though? Not only can he not actually produce a record and takes credit for everybody's work, but now he's taking credit for everybody's having sex too. He can't do anything.
It's really kind of out there, man. It's like
I 100% believe it. Sorry.
And this is going to kind of tie into the next story a little bit, but people always talk about karma, and I understand that, and I know that people like to say that, but I am a firm believer, and I've seen this happen, and I think you've been alive long enough to see it happen too, right?
Well, I don't. The way karma is used is
it is misused. But what I'm trying to say is, I think we've been alive long enough to see that sometimes in life, how you live it tends, if you stay alive long enough, it seems to be like the boomerang comes back around, right? And we've seen people who have had, that we all know of, especially from entertainment industry, have had bad behavior. Like, let's just say the umbrella of bad behavior, but seemingly have won, right? You've just seen all of the victories. And then as time goes on, one thing happens that kind of brings back around that bad behavior, and there's a cost for it. Because I do believe for whom much is given, much is expected. I've always been a firm believer in that. I think if you're really fundamentally a good person that does good works, good comes back to you in your life. I think
you shouldn't do it because of that, though.
Right. And I think that fundamentally good people, right? I think people who we've seen be fundamentally quite awful people, and let's not name names because we've all worked around people.
Well, we're leading up to the name.
Yeah. And then you see it kind of, something happened late in life and you just like, wow, I can't believe all of this is happening. I do believe that the energy of the world and how you live, it's like, it's a vibration. People always say, vibrate higher. All
right, Dalai Lama, come on.
Well, no, I'm not. I really feel this. I do. I think that we've seen so many people that you think, damn, they got away with a lot of shit. But then later in life, we've seen a lot of things come crashing down. You're like, oh, well, there's the pay for all that you got. You weren't a great person. I say that about Madonna all the time, right? It's like, I love Madonna. Madonna was not the nicest person to people. I have seen her in person. Sometimes she's just rude. I've seen her be so rude, right? Now you have this version of her who I still love her. She's my queen. I love her. But the way people talk about her is really horrible. And I think that the way she has talked about people for a lot of years has been really horrible. And she tries sometimes to, yes, I do think there's a lot of ageism with her, but it's like, you weren't the nicest woman when you had everything. The world was your oyster. you weren't always the nicest person. So you can't always expect now at this point that everybody's just going to heap tons of praise and be nice to you. It's like with the Puffy situation, I think that a lot of people, even people who are his friends, who are in his circle, know the kind of guy that he was, right? So you're right. You hear all of these things come out, and all these people were always like, he's my brother, he's my this, he's this, dead silent.
Because the allegations are just so, he has cultivated no goodwill.
And I also think if you're one of his friends and you've been around, you go to his parties, you might be like saying, well, I didn't see this, but I know what I've seen and anything may be possible.
I know, we both know, but I know people who have worked directly with him. I know people who are in the Hitmen. It's just, allegedly. And I will, allegedly, but it does. I mean, there are just certain people who'd be like, really? I can't believe that happened. And he's not one of them.
No. There's certain people
he's got the arrogance of money. But you know what? And then he just creeps me. His power is slowly being whittled away from him because number one, hip hop R&B is cyclical. He's not the guy anymore. He hasn't had a hit record in decades. Sorry.
Yeah, it's true.
In decades. So, it's money talks. You know what I mean? If Kevin Spacey were to come back with a huge hit movie, everybody would forgive him. If Will Smith comes back, what Will Smith did obviously isn't equivalent to this, but Puffy hasn't done anything, and there's always a new Puffy, and by hip hop R&B music industry standards, he's like senior citizen, and he's done. I think nobody wants. Yeah. He's a risk. He's just a risk.
He can't. No one will endorse him once he paid Cassie the settlement, right? And the things that she put out. That's it. He can't be the face of your brand. Like, what is he going to endorse for you? And all of the brands that had partnerships with him absolutely broke away from him immediately. This gave them.
I will tell you something, and this is completely effed up. Kanye has a better chance of coming back than Puffy.
Yeah,
because Kanye still makes people money.
Yep.
As disgusting as his political
and he still makes hit records. And
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. He's still making people money. And John Caramonica in the Times had a great piece about that. Kanye's core audience, not the people our age who remember old Kanye, because people who remember old Kanye are like, we're done with you. But teenagers and 20-year-olds, they're not even old enough to remember those early days. All they know is Kanye post Life of Pablo.
Right.
So they only know him as Crazy Kanye. And
they love it.
We know him as Crazy Kanye, like, oh my God, he's so annoying, Crazy Kanye. Kanye. That's a whole other, but his audience now doesn't care. They're like, oh, he says stupid shit. Who cares?
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't care. They absolutely don't care. You know who I want to see go down in flames, by the way, again, and then we'll talk about the Wendy Williams documentary. Drake just posted some Instagram thing defending Troy. Okay.
Who is he defending?
Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez, that idiot. Okay, let me tell you something. Listen, politicians, Republicans freaking out. Perhaps it's the Canadian border we need to keep an eye on.
Right.
Because because Drake is he's disgusting.
I'm telling you, people always say we care about women. They don't care about women, and they don't care about black women, and they really don't care about black women. They just don't.
I don't think people care about women. I don't know why you.
It's like
bless your heart for holding on for that hope.
Who lies about being shot and who shot people? Unless you die or you're in a mass shooting and you didn't see where the bullet came from. I think when people survive, they know who shot them. You know what I mean?
It's this whole
Like, do you think that Megan, if her female friend shot her, that Kelsey girl, she would have been like, she shot me. You know what I mean? It's like to act like she doesn't know who shot her that's just insanity.
Well, anyway. Yeah. No. You're 100% right. What I'm just saying, I just find it. I didn't know it's on our rundown, but I just, I loathe Drake with the heat of 1,000 suns, and he's just another one who has. What does he do for the world other than make like mediocre music? He does nothing. He brings no good into the world. And the other one and he's convicted. The other guy. It's not like he's convicted.
And he had a chance to defend himself. He chose not to get on the stand. If you're innocent and you didn't pull the trigger, get on the stand. Yeah. But he didn't.
Anyway, yay. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, it's interesting because a million years ago, Wendy Williams got canned from her job for saying things about Puffy.
Yeah.
Wendy Williams has, she is problematic. She's lots of fun. She's entertaining, but she could be a mean girl. She has said, sometimes you're cringing when she would talk,
I've taken artists to her radio show and she's been really rude. I've gone to her TV show. Listen, I've done events with her and Kevin, just lots of crazy experiences. And I get why people like her. I get that. But, she's a piece of work, that lady. She's absolutely a piece of work.
She is a piece of work. That said, anyone who is taking any sort of schadenfreude over her diagnosis of having early onset dementia and aphasia, is that how you pronounce it?
And alcoholism and addiction issues.
Well, the alcoholism, everybody has addiction issues. That's not new. Not everybody, but that's what I'm saying. Anyone who is taking pleasure
but they're saying
out of this,
part of some of this dementia has been brought on by the early onset was her drinking.
Her son is saying that. Well, he does. The point is that I think that no matter what you think of her, you can't take pleasure in this because what she has is a fatal disease and the rest of her life is not going to be pretty. And we watched her on air, screwing up and people. Look, at the end of the day, Wendy Williams does not matter in my life. I was never a huge fan, not because I'm a superior or moral human being. I just found her to be...
not your thing. Yes, not your thing.
Yeah, but she was a good interviewer.
I didn't listen to her every day. I didn't really listen to her. I have friends who listen to her every day.
Right. And I
didn't listen to her on the radio every day, but I've heard it. And I didn't watch her show every day because she was never my thing. Yeah, I watched it once in a while. And I've been to the show, you know what I mean? But, you
can't take pleasure.
This is another one. And I think it's like on a human level, I look at her and I'm like, this is a really sad story, right?
It is.
And then I think if she was reporting on this person, would she be kind about this when she was talking about this person? If she was looking on the other side? Probably not. But that doesn't mean that we can't look at her as a human being because everybody loved what she brought. People found it entertaining. It's really... The documentary, there's a 4-part documentary that aired on Lifetime to me that really seemed exploitive, and I wish it had never aired.
Well, I think it's especially in light of this diagnosis. I think it's really horrible. I really do. And is Lifetime now like the B-list BET?
I don't know what's happening.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this to be, when I was a girl, Lifetime was the place you watch movies with Donna Mills.
Or like Tori Spelling as co-ed call girl,
Right. Anybody who was on Falcon Crest had a Lifetime.
Or the motherfucking classic, Mother, May I Sleep with Danger.
Yeah. Or now, really cheesy movies obviously made in Canada with C-list actors.
That we love them, right? It was a good old Lifetime movie. But now we're seeing this, and it feels like in light of the diagnosis, like, okay, you say this crew was following her around because they wanted to document her comeback. But from the very beginning, you saw this wasn't a person well enough that was supposed to be having any kind of comeback. And to see all of these random people around, it's a hard thing to see. And it brings me back to a conversation that you and I had about conservatorships. Fucking Phil Spector was running around a lunatic for decades. No one came and said he needs a conservator and locked up his money, and then he actually finally murdered someone, right? But it's always women that seem to be getting locked up into these.
The Phil Spector situation was a little different. He was a dick from the beginning. Everyone knew he was a dick.
But he started having increasingly weird and erratic and crazy behavior for decades, and no one came in and said, oh, you're not making good decisions. And what I'm saying, it's always women, if you notice, in these high-profile cases of somebody saying, you can't handle any of your finances, you need a conservatorship. Well, we've seen a lot of men but he's not under. Well, he got under conservatorship because he's got dementia or something, and his wife was his caretaker, and she died, and so he needs someone to help him. And he's also, look at the age that they're doing that with Brian Wilson, right? Like the Wendy thing first started out seeming like addiction. It just feels, I don't know. I couldn't even watch. It just feels. It just, even airing this I'm looking at Lifetime like, I understand, I guess, it's a ratings game, and I'm sure you got them, but it feels so exploitive, Amy. It really does. Well, it doesn't feel good.
And how many, please don't, this is the third movie on her? I mean, come on.
Well, you remember, she had her movie that she was the producer on. So that was her life story. And she had a 3-picture deal with Lifetime, and this fulfills that deal. And, it just feels weird. It feels weird.
You know how we stop these things from happening?
Stop watching them. Yeah.
I didn't watch it. I mean, I think it's very sad. I hope she gets the help she needs. I hope the rest of her life is relatively painless, and that's it. There's enough tragedy in the world. I don't need to watch it. I have no, I'm not saying I have no interest in the sense that, but it's like,
it's like you don't want to watch trauma TV. You know what I mean?
Well, I do. If it's trauma, I'm interested in.
You like on the TLC channel trauma.
No, yes. Should we take a break? Speaking of trauma?
Yes. We'll be right back after this short break.
Hey, Pantheon listeners. Christian Swain here, taking a break from listening to a little Shouted Out Loudcast episode. Love Tom and Zeus talking all things Kiss. Of course, I was listening to them on my new Raycon wireless earbuds. They have quickly become my go-to earbuds because of the comfort. These soft tips are the best I've ever used. And at this price, plus a Pantheon discount, Raycon is really hitting on all marks. Sound quality is great too. I really love having these 3 EQ options because I like more bass in the music, but less in my podcast. 8 hours of playtime for the battery is great as well. Surround sound, noise isolating, and awareness mode are all included. These are great earbuds. Go to buyraycon.com/Pantheon today to get 20% off your Raycom order plus free shipping. That's right. You'll get 20% off and free shipping at buyraycon.com/Pantheon. buyraycon.com/Pantheon. Hey, Pantheon listeners, Christian Swain here. Another day, another podcast I'm working on. This time, it's Famous and Gravy with Amit and Michael. I want to let you know that I loved the Factor Meals package so much that I re-upped for myself, and then I sent a package to my in-laws. Like I was with my first shipment from Factor Meals, the in-laws were as excited to try one of the prepared restaurant quality meals. Well, they got the shipment to Protein Plus meal plan and were very impressed. See, being in their 80s, anything to make the meal prep easy is a plus for them. They heated the oven per instructions and minutes later were enjoying a very delicious, nutritious, and dietitian-approved meal. One big win for me. But what really floored them was the taste. Like I told you, it's surprising how good these meals taste. Restaurant quality indeed. And like my own shipment, it really was everything Factor Meals said it would be for some seniors. No prep, no mess meals. Factor Meals are 100% ready to heat and eat. Take it from me and my in-laws. Head to factormeals.com/Pantheon50 and use the code Pantheon50 to get 50% off. That's factormeals.com/Pantheon50 and use the code Pantheon50 to get 50% off. Thank you, Factor Meals.
Hey folks, Stefan Shirazi and Renee Richardson here from the Metallica Report.
And we are proud members of the Pantheon Podcast family, where the best of music and podcasts unite.
We've got something pretty cool for you. We're giving away an exclusive Metallica merch package worth over $250.
That's a whole lot of Scary Guys, skulls, M72, and other sought-after Metallica swag. And we've made it easy for you to win. Follow and share the Metallica Report, and you're in the game. Go to pantheonpodcast.com/Metallica, enter your email, and hit that button to be entered to win.
And just like that, you're eligible for our monthly exclusive Metallica merch package.
And guess what, rockers? You can enter every month. So just do it. And while we love our global brothers and sisters, the lawyers won't let us ship outside the U.S.
And we're back.
I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Speaking of trauma, Taylor Swift worships Satan, which would make her so much more interesting. Don't you think?
I'm like, what is wrong with these people?
It's like exactly
she was their golden girl, and now she's a Satanist.
It's one guy. It's one guy in a group that nobody in America.
Well, I'm talking about even we have the Republican. They're all coming for her in all of these different ways. It's like, what happened? Why?
She endorsed a Democrat. That's what happened. They suddenly realized that she has the capability, if she wants to get out a vote. That's what happened. But all right. So there's some guy in a group. I mean, would you know maybe you are the only person I know who would know a member of Boyzone if they walk down the street, but nobody would know who this guy is.
I know the group Boyzone.
I know the group.
Could not name one of their songs or any of the group members.
No, me neither. So he became a born again Christian, which I have a whole other issue with that too. I mean, I don't know why you have to be born again. If you're a Christian, you're a Christian. I don't understand the born again part. Like, you're a Christian. That's great. But anyway, he's a fanatical born again Christian, blah, blah, blah. She's Satan, blah, 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 blah. All right. So she's Satan. Great. Cool. I'm more concerned about the fact I think that boyfriend of hers is the worst, like I said, the worst kind of broski. I'm sorry. Have you seen what he wears? And I'm sorry. He goes and then he flies back to Vegas after 2 days in Australia, and he's in the club singing along to one of their songs and popping bottles. I'm like, oh my God, you're a grown man. This is not your first Super Bowl. I mean, it's great that you won.
Yeah, but he's in his 30s. You know what I mean? He's a 30-year-old rich football player who just won the Super Bowl.
For the third time, so it's not new to him.
Okay. That doesn't
mean
it's not exciting.
And it's 3 weeks after the Super Bowl, and you're all up in the club popping bottles, singing along to your girlfriend, and those outfits. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I can't. He dresses like Guy Fieri meets the Trader Joe's. Remember when they used to wear Hawaiian shirts at Trader Joe's?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He just, he's the worst, whatever. But so I'm more concerned about the fact that she's with somebody who dresses like a lunatic.
Well, at least it's better than the racist that they were trying to link her with like 5 minutes before that.
Oh, well, she has terrible taste in men.
You always say that.
No, she does. She has terrible
taste. But all of you women have terrible taste in men.
Why do you always say all you women? Come on, that's not fair. I would not make statements about all gay people, all Asian people. A lot of women have terrible taste in men. A lot of men are terrible. And those are our options.
We're not all terrible. Y'all always like the terrible ones.
No, okay, you have to stop saying that because it's not fair, because it makes women a victim.
I didn't say you're a victim. I just say you have bad taste in men. Terrible. That has nothing to do with victimhood.
Well, I know a lot of women who are with fantastic men. I know a lot of women, and I know a lot of women who are with dopes. And
you also know a lot of women that have horrible taste in men.
No, I actually don't. I actually don't know any women who have I'm being dead ass serious. I don't know any women who have horrible taste in men. I know women who may be in relationships that are not amazing, but they don't have horrible taste. And I mean, women sometimes have to stay in relationships for reasons that men might not understand. I mean, being serious, if you have kids and you're finding one thing I will always give myself credit for. Here, I'm patting myself in the back. We'll get a camera one day. Pat, 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 pat. I will die alone with my cats, who will eat the flesh off of me because they will think, ooh, this is better than Fancy Feast. But I've never been financially dependent on a man. And that is a freaking blessing. That is a blessing.
Mm.
Except for the fabulous people at Pantheon Podcasts, obviously. I'm financially dependent on that. But yeah, we have to stop all. That's not fair to the
Life's
women.
not fair.
to the women. But yeah. So Taylor's a Satanist. That's great. She's clearly loving this point in her life. She clearly wanted to be the girl with the most cake out in front because we didn't see her for 6 whole years.
Listen,
which I kind of liked. I kind of like when she was. I mean, I have nothing against her, but I just do kind of like when people. I don't need to see you all the time, but that's the media's fault too. You don't need to cover her all the time either. I mean, you really don't.
I mean, they don't have to. They literally cover like her plane landed.
I know. It's just,
what was the one headline? Taylor kisses boyfriend on field after Super Bowl win. I'm like, you mean like everybody else's families?
Well,
like,
yeah. Why? I mean, but
the coverage is a little. And we know we're not getting a break, right? Because there's a new album coming.
Good, yeah.
And then the tour comes back to the United. She's on that tour until December.
Well, she's got to make money because that boyfriend of hers has a limited career span. If she stays with him, she is. I always love when people are like, oh, she's with him for the fame and money. Are you kidding me? She could buy a country at this point. She makes so much money. No, he has good politics and he seems like a nice guy, but he's just too brotastic for me. I can't with those outfits. I don't
care about the outfits.
Yeah, he's just such a howdy boy. I don't like howdy boys. Which is a reference for those of you old enough to remember Boy Howdy. Candace and I call boys like that howdy boys. But, he's perfectly nice, whatever. Life goes on. All right. You want to talk about Beyonce now, since we've switched it up, or you want to talk the media stuff?
Well, it's really interesting, the Beyonce situation. So she is the first Black woman to have a #1 country hit. And this week, Texas Hold'em, which debuted at #2 last week, jumped to #1 on the Hot 100, making it her 9th Hot 100 and 9th hit. And I think it's her fastest to #1. I don't know if I don't think she's ever debuted at #1. And I definitely don't think she's ever debuted at #2 in 1 week and jumped to #1 the next week. So it's like, I'm happy for her. I like the song. I'm glad that it's resonating. It's also #1 in the UK. It's her first #1 hit there in 14 years.
Well, country music is huge in the UK.
So
let me ask you a question. All right. First off, two-part question. Is this going to open up pathways for legitimate Black country singers, Americana singers? I think no. I think this is an aberration. I think this is a unicorn.
I think that they will get attention. So I think which is great, right? And hopefully attention being brought to them means more streams. Do I think suddenly country radio is going to say, well, you know what?
Allison Russell is going to be #1.
And Raina Roberts and all these kids and Wilt is a really amazing Black country.
Right.
I don't think suddenly country radio is going to, the thought of them suddenly adding 8 Black acts to their playlist, I just don't see it happening.
Okay, and the second,
but we're in a streaming era, right? So if this brings attention and they all get new fans that help them sell tickets to their shows and their streaming numbers go up, then that's a win.
Okay. But do you think
because country radio still has a problem playing women, let alone a Black woman? You know what I mean?
Right. They will only play like 2 women's in a cycle. They can't.
You know what I'm saying? So let's see what happens here.
All right. Let me ask you another question. If it's a very cute song, it's catchy. If this weren't Beyonce, would anybody even care? Or is it the gimmick of it being Beyonce?
And I don't want to say the gimmick because I don't think it's a gimmick. Well,
but okay.
Because a gimmick is meant, because I don't think this is meant as a gimmick, so I wouldn't call it a gimmick.
All right, that's a wrong story. All right, but what I'm saying is,
I think it's a catchy song, depending on who did it. It could be, but it's hard to take that part out of it because to me it sounds like a Beyonce song with her just singing a country song. Right. I'm actually surprised that it went to #1 in country so quickly.
Me too.
I was actually really surprised by that. So I think there's a little bit of uncharted territory, seeing that she's so known for something else. So is it, she's a big star, so it's hard to take that part out of it, right? And I do believe there are people who love country and Western who love Beyonce. So I think there's a part of that too.
I think she crosses barriers. I think what's going to be interesting is to hear what the rest of the album sounds like.
Right. And I want to see if what the longevity for this is, right?
Yes.
Is it okay this week? From the numbers they're saying, it looks like she's going to have a repeat week on the Hot 100 because it's still building, it's getting more plays. Let's see what it does. I was hoping that she would drop a visual for this song, and there's a visualizer, but there's been no music video, so we'll see. We'll see. I mean, and you're right. What does the rest of the album sound like? I think is going to be really important. And Dolly Parton endorsing it, I think, was great because Dolly's the queen. She's just nice. We love Dolly, and everybody loves Dolly. And in Nashville, she is Dolly.
No, I know, but I mean. Yes, Dolly Parton, but Dolly Parton is as much a pop artist, and she also is a very smart woman.
She hasn't been a pop artist. She had a period where she wanted to make pop records, and that was a slice in the 80s.
Her album was a pop record.
No, well, it was her rock record when she was trying, and she made that because of them putting her in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she said, well, I have to try to do a rock album. But that didn't have her hits like when she was giving you.
No, what I mean by pop.
No, because she had a moment where she absolutely was like, I want to be bigger. And that's when we got 2 Doors Down and Here You Come Again and 9 to 5 and all that section of her career where she absolutely 1000% said, I'm making a stab at pop music.
By pop, I mean non-country.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean, not pop like pop music. No, it'll be interesting. I just, in a perfect world, this opens up a door and everybody's acting like, oh my God, black people, we've had that conversation, black music is country music. It's all got its roots in the same
thing. Like the Supremes made a country album. Their 4th album was the Supremes sing country and western.
Al Green had a country song on every one of almost all of his albums. There was always a country song. It's not that new of a concept, but yeah, she is a unicorn in the sense that it'll just be very interesting. And country radio is, somewhat not Nashville so much because Nashville is much more integrated, literally and figuratively integrated. But she is not. You can't judge country music by her being popular. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because this is still the industry that 4 years ago booted Little Nas X off
of country radio. People need to remember that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why when you said, do I think this is going to suddenly be, no, I think that the Beyonce-ness of it all and pressure from people being like, well, why won't you know what I mean? I think there was a little bit of that to make people say, right, well, let's try it. But country has a women problem. Listen, country radio wasn't really playing Mickey Guyton's records, and she's done nothing but country,
Yeah, but also Mickey Guyton was making records that were overtly political. Beyonce's not. I don't think in this genre of music, Beyonce's going to use this genre. She's not stupid. This genre to make statements about politics because that'll be goodbye, Beyonce. Go back to this is not going to be the record where she pays homage to the black. I don't think. I could be wrong.
I'm curious. I'm very curious to what this album is going to be. And if she's going to have any of these artists on the record. I'm very curious.
Well, she has Rihanna Giddens, which
was great. And, and that's great. And I think it's serving for her, like this is a lot of press for her. And that's what I hope for some of these other artists of color who are in this space, because I think they're Latino country art. I think for them,
everything. Yeah. I mean, Freddie Fender, remember him?
So hopefully this gives people a spotlight. Because we are in a streaming age. So if you find a new audience for your music and now you sell more tickets, that's great.
Yeah. All right. What's up next? The media. Can we eat? There's no media. Goodbye.
I mean, it's not even just the media, right? It's like we're seeing these massive layoffs everywhere. Warner Brothers had their best quarter in history last quarter. And their answer to that was...
We're going to fire everybody.
We had our best quarter in history. Thank you all for making that possible. We're getting rid of a bunch of you so that we can invest $200 million more back into our business. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Why don't you just had the best quarter in history. So the answer is get rid of a bunch of jobs so we can reinvest into the company. And okay, I guess it's just like the shareholders are all happy.
Right.
We're watching. I know of a couple of places that have layoffs coming up. We're seeing that Vice was bought and now they're shuttering the whole thing and hundreds of people are being laid off.
I am upset for people who work at Vice, but I have to say Vice, I was never a Vice fan. I found them very,
but I am a Vice fan. And my problem is, even if I don't like it, I'm just saying, it's like hundreds of people to lose their job. You know what I mean? These companies get sold, and then the new people buy them and just decimate the company.
They buy them as in bad. But I know that they distance themselves from him. But Gavin McInnes, man, that's all you got. That's who started Vice.
And but he's not there anymore.
I know, but I'm saying there was that mentality until they got sold the first time. It was still sort of a boys' network. Women who worked there were treated like crap. But. That said, it was not that, but you're right. These corporations buy these things as shiny, pretty objects, as chips to turn into something.
We talk about GQ being sucked in, a Pitchfork being sucked into GQ, right. And then getting rid of all of the Pitchfork writers and not even letting them write stories for the site anymore. Right. Now Complex has just been sold, and you see they're about to get rid of a whole bunch of the people on the staff there. So it's kind of like everything's becoming so homogenous that it's like no one's going to have a job in 5 minutes. And now Atlantic Records is coming with layoffs where this is really interesting because I don't know if you know this. I was laid off of Sony on my birthday. Which back then when I worked at a company, I used to, my vacation week, I always took it the week of my birthday. So it was the first day of my vacation. I get laid off. No one from Sony tells me because my boss, my direct report went on vacation in Italy. He knew that there was a possibility that I was going to get laid off. I would have wished that he would have had that conversation with me just so I wasn't caught off guard. I found out I was laid off because a friend who didn't work at Sony called me to be like, I just wanted to make sure you're okay. I heard you got laid off. I said, I probably did, but I'm on vacation. So I called them and let them know that I was laid off, which everybody gagged. I got more money though. I mean, I really did. I got more money. But it just shows you how like people don't give a shit, right? But at least back then, I left Sony with a package. I left with insurance for a couple of months, thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? It's like now it's like people are getting laid off and they get like 1 week, 2 weeks. You don't even really get a package anymore that gives you time to sort of try to find a new job. And if you are a journalist and all of these sites that you've written for are all going away, you have to transition almost into something else because there's not even a place for you to go because that's all shrinking and shrinking. And you're a writer, you know this. You see how it just shrinks and shrinks and shrank and shrank and shrank and shrank.
Everything is shrinking. There are very few industries that are not shrinking. They want to hire cheaper, younger. They don't. I mean, God, we could just. The culture has been dumbed down to the point of terrifying.
Right.
Absolutely terrifying how stupid people are worldwide, but particularly in this country. Social media, it's crazy. And here we're going to break some breaking news for you guys. Everybody sit down, write this down. Corporations don't care about people. They're like the bottom line. I am sure everybody Atlantic in the front office got a bonus.
Right.
I'm sure.
And then I'm sure when you announce these layoffs, we always see how the stock rises because, the shareholders are happy. We're going to have more money because you're going to get rid of more people. Perfect. Right. And it's interesting to see where it's coming from. The chops are coming from, you see Julie put out the statement because there's all these rumors about they're going to consolidate all the labels. And she was like, that is not what's happening here. Whenever somebody puts that in writing, I'm like, okay, well, that's coming in 6 months.
Also, that
that's
memo,
coming in 6 months.
That memo was in the most, what language was that memo in?
It was like,
I mean, it's not just, I mean, she obviously didn't write it. They have people who write that stuff there. I'm not blaming her, but that memo was in the most convoluted, corporate huggy kissy.
Which made me feel like everything that is said that's not going to happen is going to happen in 6 months. And it was like the chops are coming from the radio department and a lot of the video departments, which I see, and they're hiring their new SWAT team, so people who can help artists tell their story.
That's not a good term.
I was like, it feels like the SWAT team is just coming to the company shooting, sweetie. You're like,
I don't think you should refer to new hires as SWAT team, terrorist, counteroffensive, mob. I think you should avoid violent insurgents. There's certain words you should not use when talking about, especially when you're firing people and you have 24 hours to get, not even 24, you have like an hour to get all your shit and your frog marched out of the office.
Wait, and then you're gagging while you're reading it. You don't realize the access to your computer has been shut off. Right. And you're like, my computer doesn't work anymore.
I don't understand the password. Yeah, no, it's happening across the board. It's happening in academia. It's happening everywhere. I think it's just, I read that memo. I was like, what?
By the end of it, I was like, if I worked at Atlantic, I would have just packed up and gone.
I just would have gone. I just would have.
Not going to deal with this today.
Well, it's not even like the old days where you can go to the cabinets and take a bunch of CDs. Not even like that. Open the cabinets, CDs, get the Manja menu, order food. You can't do anything.
Oh my God, you remember Manja?
Oh, Manja. I loved Manja.
It had those like flatbread sandwiches.
Everything. Mm-hmm. Does that even exist anymore, Manja?
I have no idea. We used to order from there all the time. We ordered from there in Burger Heaven a lot.
I never ordered from, but Manja and then Black magazines, black music always ordered from Houston's with the spinach dip.
I love that spinach and artichoke.
I love that spinach dip.
So good.
I love that. I just remember the best moment, and then we'll finish up with being up at Double XL, and Elliot was going to fire or whatever, let go the art director at the time. He comes. I was up there just visiting, and he grabs. I forget who it was. One of the editorial. Like not editorial assistant, but junior writer. And he hands him like money or a corporate card. He goes, "Hey, why don't you guys get out of here for a while and go to Houston's? Just go down the street and get some lunch." And we were told like to stay out of the office because all hell was about to break loose. And all hell did break loose because this was not a guy who was going to go quietly. And we were like, just go order several appetizers.
They're like, you need appetizers and 2 entrees each. We need a minute.
Right. and getting me a dessert if she's hungry. Telling me she can have a piece of pie a la mode. Yeah, that was.
Or your favorite. A McFlurry.
Well, they didn't have those.
You get bribed with McFlurries.
That was the only time I've had a McFlurry in my life. That's how.
What? I don't think I've ever had a McFlurry. I don't think I've ever.
Good. And if it had been anyone else but Miguel, I would have demanded more. But
I love the hot fudge sundae from McDonald's. So if you want to bribe me with a McDonald's dessert, I want the hot fudge sundae with nuts.
I don't. Yeah, their shakes used to be really good.
Oh, I still love it. Oh, I love McDonald's.
No,
shake.
They're really good. Except you could suck so hard on that straw, you could pull out a filling.
Because you're like, I don't know what's in this, but it's good.
It's really good. No, they are really good. I know they're the corporate devil. All right, Black Girls Rock. Yay.
It's returning. We love that, Beverly Bond. Yay.
On the Lifetime channel. I rest my case.
Well, it used to be BET, but BET's like, it's up for sale, it's not up for sale, it's up for sale, it's not up for sale.
Who owns Lifetime? Is it a Viacom channel?
I'm not sure. Let me look it up while we're sitting here.
You know what my favorite B-list black channel is OWN. Oh no, OWN. Which is the one that's got Love After Lockdown?
That is We. That's We. It is. It's a subsidiary of A&E Networks.
Oh, okay. Well, it's coming back.
Which is a joint venture between the Hearst Company and Disney.
Okay. What is
That's what I'm saying. It's so everything is going to just be Disney in about 2 minutes.
How can we get in on these corporate mergers? I need in. All right, so Black Girls Rock, very cool. Beverly Bond, kudos to you. Amazing.
And it's not, I think it's been gone for like 6 or 7 years. It's been gone for quite a few years.
Certainly pre-pandemic. It was taken. It wasn't 4 or 5, maybe 4 or 5 years, but it's been a minute since it's been on. It's usually taped in New York, right? I mean,
it's usually taped, but I think it's in Atlanta this time.
Yes, you're right. It is in Atlanta.
I believe it's in Atlanta this time. Listen, I'm just glad that it's back. I think that it's great. I'm glad, I'm glad that
have they said who's going to be on it?
No, they haven't said anything yet. They haven't said who they're honoring or who's going to be on it yet.
Gee, I hope her shows up and Alicia Keys, because I don't see enough of them. I mean, I really haven't seen enough of her. And it's not like I don't like her. I'm just saying they need
I'm tired of seeing her.
Yeah.
Like, go someplace and record a really great new album. That's what I mean.
Album. That would be so, I would love to hear what she's doing musically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of which, okay, let's take another bet. You ready? Mm-hmm. And then we'll wrap. And Vulture Magazine actually has a timeline on this. All right, I don't have any money, you don't have money, but let's just have a psychological bet. The Normani record, never coming.
Well, it's done. So I actually do think it's coming. It is done. That I know. That she has a done record.
Okay.
What I said to a friend of mine who works at her label, I'm like, here's the thing with trying to tease. It has been 800 years.
5 years.
So I feel like if you're Normani and you're going to put out the cover and announce your record, it should have come with
cover.
It should have come
horrible cover.
I don't love the cover. It should have come with a date, a release date. I think it's just, do you want to get people excited? Yeah, you had everybody talking about you, but what's the release date? What are we looking forward to? I feel like we've known an album is coming forever. My album's coming. Here's the cover. When? Well, here's the countdown.
That's like saying I'm pregnant. When's the baby due? I don't know, but I'm pregnant.
You're like, it's coming at some point. There'll be a baby.
At some point, something's going to fall out of me, whether I wanted to or not. Who's her audience now? I'm being dead serious.
Well, that's the conversation I had with a friend of mine. I said, so Fifth Harmony, we're so long past Fifth Harmony. Camila Cabello's put out 5 albums to Normani's none. I think what I said, whatever she comes with as her first single does not need to be some middling ballad. She has to come with a surefire hit. It has been way too long. It needs to be something that is undeniable to everybody. Because in the beginning, I was really excited for her. Then it's been so long that I'm like, I don't even know what I want to hear her sing. It's like,
well, she had that song where she was dancing.
Motivation.
Yeah. I mean, her audience, the people that Fifth Harmony's done. Camila Cabello is the only one out of that group who had real solo success. Yeah. And I would bet that half of her audience doesn't even know she was in that group at this point.
Yeah, a little bit.
They've aged out. And she's not doing that kind of music anymore. And who's Normani going up against? I mean, she's still young, but who's she going to go up against?
And what is this album going to sound like? Is it great? Because it needs to be great.
Oh, it needs to be.
And who are you as an artist? Because the thing is, basically, and you know me, I'm not a prude. I don't care. But in a bikini on a rocket, okay, that's great. But what does that tell me? Who are you as an artist? Because at this point, it's been so long, I need a declarative statement. The reason why certain things work when people step out on their own, why Beyonce, I think, really worked when she stepped out on her own was Crazy in Love was such a declarative statement. It was undeniable. Yeah. And I think at this point, Normani, to really sustain a music career, this next look needs to be undeniable.
Well, she has no identity, really.
That's the thing. She's beautiful, right? She's beautiful. You know what? Everybody in pop is beautiful. That's what I say all the time. They're all beautiful.
They're all beautiful. I mean, but it's like she was the one. A lot of people were looking at her.
Yeah, it's like
Tinashe,
right? And being like, you guys are now. Tinashe's been releasing music independently. She just had a tour date in New York, and I like some of the music that she's put out. But even with that, there's a sense with her that I always feel like this should be bigger. It could have been bigger.
The window of opportunity, you do not, especially, and we've discussed it, as a woman in pop R&B, you have a limited amount of time. And if you don't seize that moment, you're done.
Yeah, because you can put out the music, you can put out all the things. But the moment when you've got the heat on you, you are supposed to be ready to strike. But that's the men too. Like when you have the heat, you've got to be ready to strike. And if you don't, then you're playing catch up and you never catch up.
No,
because a bunch of the people who might have been interested in an audience for you, they move on. So,
but that album cover is horrible. For those who haven't seen it, she's basically half naked, straddling a ginormous black rocket. So if that, which none of us have a problem with ginormous black rockets or
naked. I don't even have a problem with naked.
Well, but if that is our first visual of you in 5 years, then come on.
Here's my problem.
You can sing. Why are you doing this? You can sing. You can
sing. And I've said this to you before. I have no problem with naked if it's naked because this is my sexuality. This is how I present myself. When it feels like it's for the male gaze, to me, is always different. That's I'm trying to be sexy for the eyeballs. Then it's like, well, who are you as an artist? Because if you start out naked, and I said this about Chloe. Chloe started out naked and no one gave a shit about her album. They didn't, because it's like the two didn't even really correlate with each other. So if you start out naked and, it's like, I'm sexy, and it's for the male gaze versus just a woman who is this comfortable in her sexuality, then you put out this music. Okay, people all look at you and they'll be like, she's hot. I want to, they have all the fantasies about you, but then the music becomes secondary. And that's what kind of happened with Chloe. So I'm hoping that when she comes back with a new record, it's like, tell me who you are as an artist. Because I hate that the girls feel the pressure to, all right, let me take off my clothes and that'll get me attention, because it will get you attention. But then what about your music? Because that's what you want the attention for. I think we have to get back to people really having a real defined sort of, this is who I am as an artist. And then all the other stuff, the clothes or no clothes, that comes into play as I understand who you are as an artist and all of this makes sense. And so for Normani, like you said, I think there was a big moment where everyone was waiting for her. What she could have, the world was like, all right, what you got? And then it didn't come. So now here we come and it's like, okay, great. But what do you have? Who are you as an artist? But that
also makes me wonder, and first of all, I will say this. A woman and man can show their sexuality without being half naked. And I'm not a prude either, but you can be, but what do you have that it's taken you 5 years to figure it out?
Right.
Because what you had 5 years ago is not going to necessarily play now. So what's going to happen? I'm just very is she going to put out a dance record like everybody's doing now? Is she going to, put out a country record? What's she going to do? It's like, she's really talented, but is she that singular a talent that she can wait? Sade can wait 100 years to put out a record.
Right.
And, you haven't established yourself other than being 1/5 or 1/4, I guess, because one of them left, of a girl group that nobody can name a song from them anymore. So what's
really interesting about them? I didn't realize they didn't have as many pop hits as I thought that they had. They had a bunch of singles, but they didn't. I thought they had a bunch of pop hits, and they didn't have as many pop hits as I thought. So it's not even like coasting off of that,
and coasting off of nothing.
And as we are sitting here taping this show on a Tuesday, the 27th, layoffs have started at Sony. Sony's just laying off 900 people from the gaming division, and that's the beginning of layoffs in the company. So,
all right, what are you listening to other than the sound of unemployment?
I mean that part. I got to tell you, I'm really.
Did I tell you I'm having a meeting on Thursday, by the way? Speaking of unemployment, I have a meeting with a Medicare counselor. I cannot wait.
You're like, baby, when the 6 and the 5, when that clock goes from 11:59 to midnight, you're like, I want everything activated in May. You're like, I want it all.
There are housing credits you can get from New York City.
This thing. Get them all. Everything. Get everything. Get everything. Every fucking thing.
Everything. Everything. I'm so excited.
You're like, I want the free. You're like, I want the free beef. I don't even eat beef. Send me the beef. I want it all. I want
anything. I'll donate it to somebody. Everything. I don't care. I don't care. I'll donate it. I just anything that I can. It's like, over 6. I'll take it. Anyway, continue. I'm so sorry.
No, it's like, I'm still listening to this Paloma Faith album, The Glorification of Sadness.
I love her. She is hilarious.
But, this is about grief and life after divorce and stuff that women go through. But it's a really good album. And it's not,
she's great.
It's really, really good because, and the pressure's on a woman and, with
kids.
Do you
remember when her and Jessie Ware came out at like the same time? And they were kind of like, Jessie Ware was kind of like considered like an electronic kind of artist.
She started in being a guest vocal on dance records and stuff.
No, but her first album was kind of used.
Well, her first album was moody. I love that first album, Devotion. It's so good, Jessie's first album.
And Paloma Faith was kind of styled kind of retro-y and also I love Paloma. She's hilarious. If you want to see anything hilarious, watch her talking to Adam Scott. Oh, there's the thumb. I said like her. The thumb just came up. Is that his name? Adam Scott, Hot Priest. Is that his name? Adam Scott? Andrew Scott. Andrew Scott, Hot Priest. On Graham Norton. She fantasizes about, as we all do, about Andrew Scott. All right, so you listen to her. I'll have to go listen to that because I do like her.
No, it's really good. It's really, 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 really good.
We're preparing for a big tribute show to our favorite band, aka a shameless begging for them to join us. But I've just been listening to a bunch of stuff. But what I started listening. I decided to listen to Bob Marley because of all this hoopla about the movie, which I have no interest in seeing, though I heard it's okay. I listened to Catch a Fire, but the Jamaican version, when they reissued it, they put the original version on the record, and then they put the Island Records Blackwell version, which is the version we all know, which is a great version.
Yeah.
But listening to the original Jamaican non-produced Big Money version is really fascinating, too. So that was really cool. That's what I've been listening to. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. All right, you want to take us out?
You know what it is. Follow us every week here on I'mma Let You Finish, or come to us on our Facebook page at I'mma Let You Finish one word, or listen to us on Pantheon Podcasts. Or Pantheon has an app. Download the app. Never miss a show. Pantheon also has a YouTube page, Pantheon Podcast. Follow the show there. Follow us on the main page. Follow us to everywhere. Follow us to next week when we will be back for another titillating and tantalizing episode of I'mma Let You Finish.
And technologically up to date.
And we tittle-tattled. And we will see you next week. Toodles.
Bye.
Hey, this is Liberty DeVito.
This is Mike Del Giudice.
This is Michael Cavanaugh from Broadway's Moving Out.
This is John Jackson, director of the Billy Joel Archive.
This is Russell Javers.
This is Richie Cannata, and you're listening to Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast. It's awesome.
I'm Michael Grosvenor.
And I'm Jack Fernino.
We're lifelong Billy Joel fans who launched a podcast in 2020 celebrating the music we love.
Whether you're looking for the greatest hits or the B-sides and rarities, you'll find it all here. And if you've ever wondered what happens behind the scenes of a concert or recording session, we've got you covered.
Join us as we explore albums, tours, band members, the latest news, and more. You'll also get a unique glimpse into the music industry straight from the musicians and other professionals who help make it all happen.
Tune into Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast at glasshouses.pod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast is a proud member of the Pantheon Podcasts Network.